Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 135 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 135 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here with us this week, and I hope that you stay for a long time. If you guys have been here before, you know the deal. I love you deep. I am so grateful for having you on the journey. You guys surprise me all the time, and it's just so great to have a community like you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you for continuing to support, and I'm glad that you're back. Before we dive into this week's episode, I always like to make sure that we set the foundation. I want to make sure that you understand that we are creating a safe space. And in this safe space, I treat it like a house. And I want to make sure that we are building our house on two very important things, and that is clarity and love. Clarity is really straightforward. I just like to make sure that you understand that. I created the Well Done Life podcast because I believe women are the foundation of society. I believe that we need spaces where we can be our most authentic selves, where we can learn and grow together. And so this is the perfect space for that type of atmosphere. And I am so glad that you are here because I promise we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. And at the end of it, I want you to know that you are supported, that you are seen, that you are valued. And I hope that you feel like you are encouraged because we all have an opportunity to live our best life. And I hope that I'm giving you some tools and some things to think about that will help you on your journey. So again, welcome. Now, of course, that leads me into my favorite thing, that is love, because love is a thing. And everything that we do in this space is always going to be rooted in love. And so I like to make sure before we get started that I always send you guys prayers. I think it's important that we pray more for each other because, obviously, as they say from a biblical standpoint, when two or more people come together in agreement in prayer, the power of that. But I also want you to know that, again, you are loved and valued. And I hope you feel that way. So this week, I want to make sure, first and foremost, since we're talking about love, I am sending you prayers of love. I want you to feel love from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. I'm talking good reciprocal love because you are worth it and we deserve it on all levels. And we have to demand that for ourselves, especially now going into a new year, new time. If we're not feeling loved on the levels that we need to, now is the time to do that and make sure that we are setting ourselves up for the type of love that we deserve, because every year we don't get younger, we get older. And there is no time like the present to have the love that you deserve. Along that line, I also want to send you prayers of peace. I want you to be at peace in your spirit. I want you to feel like you are in a position where you are at rest right now, that you are at ease in your soul and your spirit. You deserve that. There's always so many things going on in the world. Life is going to life. We all know that. But find the strength within yourself to value your peace, especially in chaotic moments like this. I mean, the holidays are wonderful, but they also bring a lot of chaos in the sense that you get pulled in so many different directions. There's lots of invitations, lots of obligations. Give yourself time to disconnect as you need to. I know everybody is not an extrovert. There are many introverts out in the world. I am team extro introvert. I am a mix of both. So I totally understand. And I have found joy and pleasure in sitting in my house, especially since the pandemic. It's like you learn how to have those moments of quiet and stillness. And don't get me wrong, I'm getting back out in the streets myself, but I am still prioritizing peace. So I want you to prioritize peace for yourself as well. Give yourself moments, even if it's just a moment of you just sitting down with a cup of coffee or tea or a cup of water, whatever it is, and you are just at peace in that moment, giving yourself rest, do that. Do whatever feels comfortable with you, but just make sure you prioritize your peace. And also along that line, let go of anything that is gnawing at you. Like, in regards to forgiving people for things that they may have done, forgiving yourself for mistakes that you may have made. Because a lot of times, some of us are carrying things within us that are blocking us from our peace. And we have to deal with it. We have to deal with ourselves just like we deal with other people at times. And so you want to make sure that you are giving yourself a moment where you are searching your heart. And we talked about that in last week's episode, because a lot of times we get triggered. It is so important, though, as you're on this healing journey, that you cast the mirror back at yourself and do a trigger check. Make sure you got your traumas in check. Make sure you are staying on top of your healing and making sure that you are setting yourself up for success. That's integral in your peace. That's integral in you being able to find love. That's integral in the next prayer, abundance. I'm telling you, this is a season of abundance. I'm praying for you abundance. I want you to be financially abundant, but I also want you to be abundant in your soul, in your spirit. So it is very important that you address anything inside of you that could be blocking you, because you can't make room for new when you're holding on to old, And so a lot of times we have to be willing to sit down with ourselves and just think about where we need to heal so that we can make an action plan to heal. And along this line, I also like to kind of throw in a quick PSA. Remember, you don't have to heal alone. You can heal with a community. You can heal with a therapist. There is nothing wrong with therapy. Therapy is a beautiful thing. I spent many years in therapy. Therapy saved my life. Don't ever be afraid to admit that you need more. And that doesn't mean that you don't believe in God. God understands that you need therapy and that you need somebody else to talk to sometimes outside of him. So don't feel any kind of way, because I think a lot of times we have a lot of different perceptions around therapy. Think about who you are. Think about where you are on the journey. God gives you what you need. If God gives you an opportunity to speak to a therapist, that could be somebody you need to talk to, and it still won't block your blessings, I promise you. But again, make sure that you deal with yourself. And if that means seeking help, don't be afraid to go get it, because there is nothing wrong with that. Prioritize you. And I like to throw that PSA in there because, I know for myself, obviously I share my journey. There are a lot of us out here sharing our journeys, sharing our experiences. But I also make a very clear point to say they're my experiences. And when I give advice or give feedback to people, I'm giving it truly from a place of love and from my own knowledge. But at the same time, I'm very quick to tell you, if you need a little extra, don't be afraid to seek that out professionally, because don't let everybody diagnose what is wrong with you. I'm not sitting here throwing labels at people. I'm just telling you, this is a community space, but sometimes we understand that you will need to elevate past the community space and go and seek out professional help. So I just like to make sure that I do that, because I think that that is very important. But like I was saying, back into the prayer of abundance, you want to make sure that you are on top of those things with yourself so that you can be open, so that you can have those abundant moments in your life, because I do truly believe that there is just abundance coming into your life. I think this is a season of so many blessings, and I want to make sure that everybody is doing what they need to do to make sure that they are open enough to receive it. So sometimes we have to let go of some old things. We have to forgive some things. We have to move some things out of our lives so that we can receive some new blessings. So I am praying abundance, new blessings financially and spiritually will come into your life during this time. And I'm also, like I said, praying for you. I'm praying for you to have vision. Going into this time, we're a few weeks away from the end of the year. I want you to have vision for yourself and going into your new year, because all of our years are going to look so different. Give yourself space to sit down and put a vision together for yourself. It could be a vision board, it can be a list, it can be a word, whatever resonates with you. But write the vision, make it plain, and pray about it, and give yourself the space to be totally vulnerable, totally authentic in a moment, dream the biggest dreams that you possibly can, and go out there and give your self space to accomplish it. Put the vision out there, because once you put that energy out there, once you put that intention out there, and then you put your action behind it, when we come together again in 2023 at this point, I cannot wait to hear what everyone has accomplished. Because, like I said, for myself, and we'll talk about that more in this episode, 2023 is a very intentional time for me. It's very personal. This next 10 years of my life is very personal. So I'm definitely setting up space for what my vision is. I want you to set up space for what your vision is going to be. Because if you don't plan, then you plan to fail, or you plan not to move forward. It's like we can go with the ebbs and flows of life, but we also still need to have at least a vision. So a pathway to what we want to accomplish, because only you know what you need to accomplish. Only you know the desires of your heart. So you want to make sure that you are aligning your vision with your desires of your heart, with your faith, with your intention, and giving it all into God, into the universe, so that great things will continue to happen for you. I am believing a great season for all of us going into 2023. So those are just a few of the prayers that I have for you. Like I said, you are truly loved and valued in this space, and I am so grateful and very excited to see what comes for you coming into 2023. But we are here, and this is our final episode of 2022, and it's bittersweet for me. I thought about it today, and I was like, am I just going to change my mind and keep recording all the way until the end of the year? No, I'm not. But I thought about it for a hot second, because kind of like what I told you guys about getting the vision and stillness, I need to do that. So this will be our last episode of 2022. And before I dive into that, I do want to say thank you to everyone for your feedback about episode 134. We're in the end game. It was so funny. Earlier this week, I was having a hard day, and I happened to be doing my normal social media scroll break a little bit between meetings. And I got a tweet in from someone who had heard that episode and how much it blessed them. And it just made me feel so good. It really did. It made my day. It actually made my month, made all of this worthwhile. That's what I really get excited about. I love all the downloads. I love all the growth. I love all the guests and everyone that I get to meet. It's all a part of the community. But when I see that what we're talking about is helping you, when I hear your feedback and I know that it's resonating in your spirit, that I feel like you're going to be inspired and you're going to go out here and do something amazing with what you heard, that just makes me so proud and so grateful that I am able to connect with you guys, and that I'm able to just stand in this moment in my story. Because I was a little worried about that episode after I did it, because I'm like, Lord, I'm telling some stuff about things. But like I said, this is a very special time. And in this special time, I feel like it's a moment where I have to just dig deeper into myself, dig deeper into my triggers, dig deeper into my journey, and share that with you, because I know I'm not alone, because we are trying to do something different in this next year. 2023 is going to be different. And like I said, for me, this next decade, this next 10 years is what I'm thinking about. So I have to be very intentional. I have to be very forthright. So I can tell you, y'all, it's about to get even more personal. And this thing is about to be serious in 2023, because I'm not playing. Like, this new season that I'm in, I'm coming through very strong. So that was just a format of me being able to set myself up for 2023. And I'm very grateful. And I really am so glad that it resonated with some of you and your feedback. And I definitely hope that you continue to listen to it, but I hope you're inspired by it to do your trigger checks and to make sure that your spirit is right and deal with yourself, because healing is a 365-day-a-year journey, and you're going to get triggered in all different areas, and you don't want to get backtracked. You want to make sure you stay on top of yourself and learn how to forgive the things that didn't work out. not just the people who may have wronged you, but the things within you, the things that you had control over, so that you can be free and abundant, because you know new things are coming. So you got to let some old things go. So again, I'm thankful. I will have that episode linked in the show notes, but this episode, like I said, this is the last one. And I kind of told you guys before, which is what I did last year as well. I definitely, I'm a little bit different in regards to how I do my planning, my vision planning going into 2023 or any year, actually. And last year I started a trend where instead of worrying about doing a vision board or making a list, I did a list of things that I was letting go of and leaving in 2022. And I found that to be very helpful. I keep this list on my phone. So I will be doing that exact same thing going into 2023. And so this year, like I said, it's different. I'm about to turn 50, the golden renaissance. My arms are up because I am totally entering in a whole new season of my life, a whole new decade. And this shit is personal. And yes, I'm sorry, I'm going to say shit maybe a few times, I don't know, because I want you to understand how serious turning 50 is for me. Because, and I think I've expressed this before, being at this point of my life, I'm extremely grateful. There were times in my life I didn't think I would make it this far. So to be here in this moment and just a few months away from my 50th feels amazing, inspiring, a little scary. So full transparency, a little scary, but so worth it. And I feel so, sorry, my voice cracks. I feel so blessed to be at this point that I'm about to be in, that it's just so many different emotions. And it's funny because I was talking to my mom the other day and she was like, well, 50 is not that old. And I said, you are 100% right. 50 is not. But my 50 is special. And I'm not upset about it being older because age is only relative. And I'll be quite frank, my melanin is strong and my moisture game is good, thank God. So the skin is still looking like she might be in her 30s. So I'm keeping it together. And I'm going to do what I can to take care of my body, because this is a temple and I understand that now. Yeah, believe me, I think you start to understand that more as you age. The body is a temple. So I definitely will be taking care of her. I didn't even make that one of the things I'm leaving behind, not taking care of myself, because that is something that I don't even have to worry about. That's in me now. I found a routine that I like. I think I have figured out how much I love me and I will take care of this physical shell. So that is a given. But she did. She said, it's not old. And I was like, you're 100% right. And then we started talking because I asked her, how does she feel when she was 50? Because her 50 and my 50 are going to be totally different. I mean, my mother was then, my sister and I were both out of the house. My brother, was living his life. It was her and my dad being empty nesters. And here I am at 50 or almost 50. And I've never had children. I've never been married. And I have my mom and my younger sister living with me. So my family dynamic looks a little bit different, not in a bad way, but a little bit different than hers. And she was like, you know what? I could only imagine what 50 must feel like for you. And so she was asking me, she was like, what is your priority then of being 50? And my priority of being 50 is that this next 10 years is for me. This next phase is for me. For a while, I felt like I have put my life out here for other people. And I said, I think this is where, if I think about it, her and I actually have a little bit of a parallel now that I'm talking through it with you guys in regards to our journey to 50, because she got a chance to be an empty nester. with my dad and, connect again. My mom was like, we weren't cooking, we were eating out. Like, I swear, I think those people went to more Dunkin' Donuts, IHOPs, breakfast dates, lunch dates than I and my sister ever got in the years that we were all together, because we didn't eat out when they were growing up. And that's what she said. She was like, when you have family in your house, when you have kids in your house, you don't eat out as much. But when y'all are gone and can take care of yourself, your father and I, we don't have to cook like that. We can go out, we can do all these things. They were living their life of leisure and love together again. They rediscovered each other. For me, 50 is different in the sense that it's like, I feel like this, like I said, this next journey is for me. This is the season of where I am literally coming through like a hurricane. I plan on coming through and getting everything. I'm coming for everything. Like, I am stepping fully into my boldness. I am a beautiful woman who has her own and is deserving of the best love that I possibly can get and deserve if it adds value. And I'm going to live my life on the terms that I want to live. Like, this is me. Like, I am my most actualized self at this point in my life. And I wasn't that way at 40. Hell, I wasn't that age way at 46, 47. I'm just figuring out like 2 years ago, I just really started to get good, that I started to really love me. And now I'm in love with me. Like, I'm cozy. Like I told y'all, I've been down, been broke, been all that, but I'm coming through like King, like instead of King B, you might as well call me King Pam. Like, I'm not playing. And I am really seriously coming through with all of the energy, because this is my time and I'm not going to waste it. I definitely won't be arguing with anyone, because I keep telling y'all, the key to good skin is not to go back and forth with people. Like, sir, it's just a waste of your time and energy. People sometimes are never going to understand you. And we are spending way too much time trying to argue with people to get them to understand us. They don't understand us, wish them well and move on. Because your moisture, your peace, your strength, your peace of mind, happiness, and lushness are way too important for anything less than that. Sorry, that was like a little side note digression, but like, hopefully you get the point. Like, I'm not playing in this new season. So kind of going back to what we were talking about, like I said, I'm putting together a list of things that I am leaving behind in 2022 and in this next decade. And as I've been working on this list, I would love to say, like, this list is, I think, going to be forming. And so as I was getting to the episode today, I was like, I don't really have like this long list. Like, when I did my list for last year, I had 11 things on my list, and I'm not going to go through all of it. I had 11 things and 5 words of 2022. And my 5 words of 2022 are peace, love, faith, protection, and prosperity. And I totally love that it has embodied my 2022. If I look back at it, like, I really have, God, been blessed with all of these. And the 11 things that I needed to leave behind in 2021, which were overthinking, not prioritizing my peace and health, mental and physical, not prioritizing my time, living in athleisure attire, because, y'all, we were just coming through the pandemic, and like, literally, I got tired of being in athleisure. Regrets, not sharing my emotions, not taking time off, not taking courses to better my skills, not leaving behind allowing fear to control me, not having a savings plan, not treating myself to quality things or experiences. Those were the 11. And I'm sure I probably sounded like super quick when I was saying that. I'm from Brooklyn, side note, so we talk quick, but you get the gist. Like, I had a long behind list of things that I left in 2021 going into 2022. And many of those things, having it visually there as a constant reminder to me, have really with the intention of thinking about that have really helped me. And when I look back, I don't feel like there were many things that I fell short of. I mean, I really don't. I feel like I did stop living in athleisure. I started to release the fabrics, but next year I'll be releasing the fabrics even more because I've just really decided I'm just going for it. I'm going to have a good time. And I like putting stuff together. But definitely like not prioritizing my time and, not prioritizing my mental health and all of those things. I've done a better job of that. And definitely bettering myself. I got certified in data analytics. I got a new job. Like I have so many things to be grateful for. Like I said, I learned how to bet on myself. I've learned how to love myself, learn how to share my emotions with people. And that is a struggle for me. Like, child, I'm not going to lie. That's another thing to remember for all of us who are like the strong friend, the strong Black woman, the strong woman, like we are carrying the loads and doing all the things. We need to think about, hey, it's time for us to enter into our soft phase. It's time for us to put these little super sister save a hoe capes away and let people do for us. And believe me, it is easier said than done. I am learning how to be gentle. Tonight, I literally reached out to someone because I want to talk with them to get advice about, where I should stay in a hotel. Like literally, I normally would never ask this, but it's like, I'm trying not to always feel like I have to dominate everything. Like I don't, certain things I don't. And asking for assistance is okay. And like I said, I know that probably sounds like the smallest thing in the world. It is. But if it's going to make my life much more convenient and easy by this person's opinion, I'm going to take it. I totally am. And it may be an opportunity for me to flirt too, because, your girl's got options, trying to make plans, but we'll talk about that maybe in another time. But I just like to say that I'm in my soft phase. And so I am trying to learn how to allow my softness, you know what I mean, to come out, to be able to ask for help in the littlest things, because I don't want to do everything. I don't want to always be the strong one. I don't. Not in every situation. I can be. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to always be a boss. But at the same time, sometimes a boss is going to delegate certain roles for other people and is going to feel confident that that thing is going to get handled in the proper way. And you get a little extra help along the way. So just saying, just a little side note, but I digress, but I'm back. So again, let's talk about 2022, the things I'm leaving behind. And like I said, I'm leaving me behind in 2022 and this next decade. And my list is not that long this year. It is so far, like I said, it is growing, but I'm here at 7. And so 7 things that I'm going to be leaving. Let's start it off. So first one, and I know you've heard this one because, I left it behind in 2021, but you see it's still here, overthinking. And I tend to overthink. I am a big overthinker. I'm raising my hand. I wish y'all could see. Like I'm an overthinker because I get triggered in areas where I'm insecure. It is the truth. I had to, again, shine that mirror back on myself and do the work. And one of the areas that, an example, is in relationships, because there were times in my life when I didn't feel like I was enough. And like I said, I've really come into just being full transparent. I would love to act like I have loved myself all of my life. I have not. And I would truly say that for these last 2 years, I have really owned loving me. I love me. And I will not be changing that perception. I think it will only grow as I get older because I'm just confident in the skin that I'm in. But that is one area where I have struggled. And so I've had to finally learn, thank God, that I'm enough. I'm more than enough. And that I have to realize that the right person is going to recognize and love that about me. Like, I don't have to be afraid to show my emotions and myself. And I don't have to be afraid to ask questions. I can be my most actualized self in love. And know that I'm protected. And, for a lot of us who are single, that can be challenging because if you think about it, we hear so many different things out here about don't say this, don't say that, play this game, play that game. Okay, cool. You can do that. You really can. And I'm definitely not saying I have it all mastered out. Don't, because I'm single. I mean, I'm not like, it's not like I'm married or anything like that. I'm single, but I'm just telling you where I am at right now on my journey with it. I just want to love. I really want to focus on building love and relationships on a level of honesty. And if I think about it, not even in just love, sometimes I have been insecure previously in friendships because it's just like, I don't want to rock the boat, or I've had previous friendship traumas, and I've talked about that before. And I had to heal, especially for one relationship. We were friends for so long, over 10, 15 years, when our friendship stopped, and it broke my heart. And it was like a death, losing that relationship. And I learned how to heal and move on, but I would be sitting here lying, acting like, oh, it's not impacting other friendships. And now being able to cultivate space where I can have friendships with other people. Like I have my clique, my crew, my ABCs, my 1, 2, 3s, my all that's bag of chips people. But at the same time, I'm building meaningful connections and friendships with other people because I'm just being myself. I'm being my most authentic version of me. And I'm putting back the fear. I'm putting back the overthinking and just focusing on getting to know these people. So it's not just in love, it's in all relationships. It's all of that. We all have to heal. We all have to be able to learn how to be our most actualized self, because I always hear people say, it's harder to maintain relationships as adults. Yeah, because we're so caught up in life and we get busy and all these other things. But it's only hard if we make it hard. If we give ourselves space where we can just not be afraid of being vulnerable and just allow ourselves to just be, with the understanding that if someone is not supposed to be around us, one, our energy, because we're leading in love, will naturally repel people who are not in alignment with that. And two, your discernment will also show you who should be in alignment with you and who shouldn't. And with that, you have the strength to be able to make the proper decisions to either advance the relationship or to remove yourself away from it. And it doesn't necessarily require arguments. A lot of times, what I've noticed now, people just naturally fall away. Some relationships just naturally burn out because it just wasn't a connection that was sustaining. It wasn't like anything happened. It wasn't a connection that was sustaining, because some people are only going to be in your lives for a short period of time, a season or a lifetime. So you just have to, I think you just get a little bit smarter on the journey to being able to identify who is who when you're there, and you make the decisions and you move forward. So overthinking is definitely one of those things that I am leaving behind in 2022 and in this next decade. Now, I'm going to put a caveat there. It will probably be something that I always have to work on because I'll be triggered. But I have the ability to control my triggers as long as I remember who I am, what I'm leading from, and who I belong to. So always have a path to help you heal in that regard. So the second one is not living fully. And when I say not living fully, I'm just talking about, again, and continuing to encourage myself to do all of the things that spark my curiosity. Because I heard someone say recently that their goal was to die empty. And I think that's an aspirational goal for all of us. I think we all should pursue the things that are within our hearts. And I'm not saying go out here and jump off a bridge or anything like that. I mean, not unless that's, I guess, in your heart, but make sure you have a harness, a good safety team. Like, just don't do anything, just out there. But don't put limits on yourself based upon your preconceived notions of what you can and cannot do. Give yourself the space Give yourself the belief, give yourself the energy and intention to realize that there is really absolutely nothing that you cannot accomplish when you set your thoughts, your mind, and your heart and your intention toward it. And that's it. Like, it's really that simple, because life is short. And there is no reason for us to put limits on ourselves, because life will already do that for you. It really will. So you have to be willing, if you're to push the envelope, to not be afraid to seek out things that inspire you. Because like I've said to you guys before, I truly believe each of us was born into this world to heal one of the issues of this world. And either we're going to step into the call or we're not. And there's not a bad thing either way, because we'll still live a blessed life. But for those of us that are seeking the call, life is not going to be easy on that journey. Just because we're seeking the call, you're still going to be tried. You're still going to go through it, but you keep pressing because you know that that's something inside of you that you have to deal with, that curiosity. Don't be afraid to answer those calls. Don't be afraid to tap into that curiosity. You never know what could be on the other side of your blessing, and other side of it, that blessing for you. And you don't want to miss out on what it should be. Because again, it's about dying empty. Or as I like to say, my mission is that when I die and I'm standing before God and God is looking at the ledger of my life, God will just say, well done, and close the book. So give yourself the space for the book to be closed. And then the other thing that I'm leaving in 2022 and in the next decade of my life is not recognizing my boldness or power. Personally, and I know this to be the case, I have tried to play small to make other people feel comfortable. I'm done with it. This is my season, and I will be at a level 10 plus if I want to. I'm not saying I'm going to be at a level 10 plus all the time, but I'm just letting it be known. Like I said, Golden Renaissance, hands in the air. I'm doing me, boo, because I can. So I would suggest for everyone else on that journey as well, recognize your boldness and power. Stand fully in who you are. Don't let anyone ever make you feel like you should be less than. You are more than enough. You are all that in a bag of chips, and everybody will like it. And if they don't like it, oh well, that's not your problem. So then that leads me into my fourth thing. We're making good time with this. This one is definitely something that I really had to learn. And I think a lot of people actually need this reminder. So number 4 is not remembering that everyone is not on the same level of healing as me. And let me repeat that one more time. Number 4, the fourth thing that I am leaving in 2022 and in this decade is not remembering that everyone is not on the same level of healing as me. Now that should be pretty straightforward, but it's not. Because a lot of times we're assuming that everybody is on a journey, a healing journey, and many people are, but not everybody is on the same level of the healing journey as I'm on or as you're on. We're all at different phases and stages of the game. And I think that we have to remember that we cannot pull everybody into our level of the journey. And that's okay. Because again, like I said, everybody's at every different phases and stages, and they have to grow at their pace. But we don't have to stop our journey, our healing, because we're trying to pull somebody back toward us. We have to stop doing that. We have to let people be exactly where they are. And even if it pains us a little bit that that's where they are, we have to let them be there, because it's not about us. I had to learn that it's not about me. Like I told you guys before, it's like one of the greatest things that I have learned on the healing journey, especially as I'm dealing with other people, is my ego has to die. Like as I'm dealing even with myself, like my ego has to die because it's not about me. I think about that in instances where I've had conversations like I've told y'all with my brother, and I want him to be better and do all these things. Is that for him or is that for me? Because it would make me feel better about being able to interact with him, or is that about him growing? And I had to check myself on that because I had to understand he will come into his own when he's supposed to. It might not ever be when I see it. It might be tomorrow. Who knows? But at the same time, it's learning how to let people be who they are and where they are and not allow it to affect my journey. I'm not the only person who needs to hear that. Some of y'all need to hear that too, because there's a lot of us out here trying to pull everybody through. And it's not just brothers. Some of us trying to pull husbands, boyfriends, wives, all these things into our level of healing. And we can't. We cannot, because our healing journeys are personal. Our healing journeys are personal. And we have to be okay that we're not aligned, because sometimes things and people aren't supposed to be in our lives for a lifetime. And like I've said, now let me preface that I'm not going out here telling y'all to dump people, do all this, whatever. I'm just trying to give perspective into understanding that not everybody's going to be on your level. And you just have to understand what you can and cannot accept for those moments when people aren't on your level. And as long as they're not being on your level, doesn't stymie your growth, doesn't make you fall back into old ways, then cool. But if for some reason you start to diminish yourself, if for some reason you start to stunt your journey, you're going to have to check that. You're going to have to deal with that. And you got to deal with yourself before you deal with them, because you are important. Because remember, not everybody is going to be on the same level of healing as you. And that is a big one for me. Number 5, this kind of goes right into that, I guess, not surrendering to God. And when I say not surrendering to God, it's not that God isn't the center of my life. God is the center. But at the same time, I'm still present. And I am known sometimes for still picking things up that I was supposed to put down. And I'm still not completely, releasing my thoughts and cares and fears unto God. And that has to stop. And I have truly learned that is important, not because it's just a manifestation of my faith. And obviously that is centered, that is super important. But if I'm going to stay in this season of softness that I want to be in, I have to surrender. I can't be the dominant force in a situation that is not meant for me to solve. And so that means I need to surrender. I need to remember who I belong to and never forget that God's discernment and love always covers me, because that's going to be key in this next season of my life. And I think for a lot of us, we have to be willing to really check that side of ourselves, because again, God is the center of many of our lives. We have our faith, we believe, but we're still there in the middle of it. And that's why I said sometimes it's like realizing that my ego has to die, because just because I'm still here in the center of it, I can't do the Lord's work. Like if I'm going to surrender it to him, if I'm going to have the softness, if I'm going to stay at peace and realize who I belong to and let him do the work, it can't be him and me. He didn't ask for a tag team when I surrender. In my surrender, it's let it go. So we really, truly have to work on making sure that we're letting it go. So that is one of the things that I am going to be doing more of in this next season of my life, letting go, surrendering. And believe me, y'all, like I said, it's not that I'm a control freak, but maybe I'm a control freak. So I be picking it up sometimes, but I have to pray over myself a lot, speak over myself a lot, write and journal over myself a lot. That's why I said healing is a 365-day commitment, because I constantly have to make sure that I stay on top of me so that I can continue to surrender. And I'm very grateful that God has placed people in my life in alignment with that, because it helps me continuously remember to stay in that. So check that about yourself and make sure that you have the guard around you to surrender and really, give God the room to bring forth the blessings that we want. Because again, like I said, God can't move if we're there too in the middle of it. It's not a tag team. We got to surrender. And so that leads me to number 6. We're almost done. Not being clear about my goals and objectives in any area of my life. And at this phase of my life, what that means is there's no room for ambiguity. I have to be completely honest and clear about my goals and objectives for my life. I have to be able to ask and answer for myself what I want from any relationship, partnership, effort, etc., that I will be a part of. I need to consistently make sure it aligns with my life and energy, or I need to reevaluate. Because again, life is short and time is fleeting, and I don't have time or energy to give things or give of me to situations, people, resources that just don't align with my life. And I think a lot of times, for all of us, we've been in those situations where we're doing things to make other people happy and all these things, but they don't necessarily really fit. Or you get this feeling like it's just not for you, but you're still trying to make it work. No, that's over. And I would suggest for you that you think about that, because again, why are you wasting time doing things that don't serve you? And when I say serve you, I'm not just talking about benefit you in some way, but I'm talking about serve you, meaning that they don't serve your energy. They don't serve your source. They don't serve your values. You have to be clear about your values. This is not a time, especially in the world that we live in today, where you can be ambiguous about your values. Like you have to stand 10 toes down on who you are at all times. And that should always be what you present to the world. Like, I'm not giving a representative. Like, this is me, 185% me. Because why am I doing that? I'm only blocking my blessing. I'm only giving you, I'm wasting time. I don't have time for that. So there can be no more ambiguity in anything in my life. And I invite you to think about how you can be and show up as your most authentic self as well, because you don't have time for that either. And then the final thing, and I've kind of touched on it a little bit, is not speaking my mind about my emotions, including triggers. And this is something that I left behind in 2021, but I'm still healing. Like I told y'all, you see a couple of things come through, and I'm still healing and I'm still triggered. So I need to keep this top of mind going into 2023, especially as I want to deepen my relationships with others and myself. Life is going to life, and people are going to press buttons that they have no idea about. And the only difference is that I'm no longer afraid of speaking about it. I'm no longer concerned about expressing how I feel to others, especially to the people I love, because I feel like I owe you the most. The people that I love, I owe you honesty, and I want to be that way. And so people pleasing and accepting less is over. It's all about dealing and healing, breaking generational curses, and speaking truth to power with love. Because that's another thing, speaking my truth to power, speaking truthfully to other people. I don't have time to tear people down. Like, I made the decision a while ago, I'm leading with love, because love is easier for me to carry. I don't have time for negativity. Yes, I can give you correction, because we all have moments of our life where we need correction, but I'm not here to tear people down. We have to let that go. Tearing people down, carrying negativity, arguing people, that all creates negative energy within ourselves. That negative energy just builds and builds and builds, and it winds up eating at us. My soul is too light. My spirit is too free. My energy is too bright. I do not have time for that. So I am not carrying that, because my spirit is too valuable for anything less. So yeah, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to speak my mind. And like I said, yeah, triggers, child, I be triggered all the time. But again, that's part of the journey. That's part of the healing. And we're all going to be triggered but we all should be able to speak with love. And it's so funny because today I was on social media, of course, scrolling through mindlessly. And one of the people that I follow, Don Miguel Ruiz, with the Four Agreements, which I have talked about, and I will keep talking about because that book changed my life, in regards to being impeccable with your word, speaking with integrity, saying only what you mean, and avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about other people. Use the power of your words in the direction of truth and love. That is so powerful. And if we all did that more for ourselves and other people, I don't think we'd have as many hurt people as we have out here. And we wouldn't be hurting ourselves, We would just be able to be who we are. So I'm standing in that. And I will definitely make sure I link that book in there if you're looking for some end of year reading to help you start for 2023. I would definitely say that and when I look at the Four Agreements, they really do align with, when you're on the healing journey, because those are four different things that you need to remember to kind of help arm you as you're dealing with yourself and other people. So I'll make sure I link it. But essentially, those are the 7 things that I am going to be leaving in 2022 and this next decade that I'm going into. It is going to be magical. It is going to be so many things. And I'm very grateful, like I said, to have you guys on the journey with me. So I hope that some of the things that I shared with you resonated. I hope they give you strength as you are preparing for your 2023. I am believing truly great things for all of us. And I want us all to just really be real, step into the magic of who we are, because this is our time. If not now, when? And I'm going to keep saying that because there's really no excuse. It's literally the same thing I say to myself in the morning when I don't want to get on that Peloton. I don't have an excuse. It's right here. It's here. So it's like, why not? Invest in yourself. Give yourself space to heal and watch your life change and grow and abundance come to you, because you deserve it and you're worth it. So I want to thank you for this time with me today. Thank you for this year. I am so excited about what 2023 will bring for us. The Golden Renaissance, y'all. I'm coming through, honey, like a hurricane, like King Pam. That's what you can call me, King Pam. Just kidding. But definitely with that same energy, because I love you guys. I love myself. And I love what we are doing in this space. And I cannot wait to do more of this with you. So I will make sure that I link a few resources in the show notes. Like I said, I'm going to link Don Miguel Ruiz's book. I'm also going to link Alex L's book again, because How We Heal, that is a really great book I'm reading so far. And like I said, I am going to her book tour in St. Pete next weekend, which I'm really excited about. And I will definitely share that when we come back in January, because yes, this is the last podcast of the year, which means that I will not talk to you guys again until January 1. There will be a new episode on January 1. And I'm very excited. Yes, I know that's New Year's and y'all will probably be like recovering. But I hope maybe that next couple of days, like the second on, you'll get a chance to listen. But we're going to start off strong. And I cannot wait. I definitely will be creeping a little bit possibly on social media. But this is a time of solitude for me. Coming up is time for rest. It's time for planning. It's time for preparation. It's time for bringing in the Golden Renaissance, honey, because let's release the fabric and bring forth the fabulousness of the year. I hope that your holidays are filled with love and so much joy and happiness. Be safe out there. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I will talk to you all in 2023. I love you.